So, ladies and gents, we are about to get into a very awesome student interview right here with Morten, all the way out from Norway. Now, he actually hit 17 grand with his agency back in November and decided to scale it down a little, take one step back to take two step forward. So he's hovering around that 10 to 12K a month mark. And yeah, we're getting into a very, very insightful chat on basically the entire process from, being a solopreneur, bringing on your first full-time employee, and really just how fulfilling that is. And as I said, what it's like to make 10 15 grand a month at such a young age. So with no further ado, let's get straight into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another student interview. We are joined today with Morten from Norway, and it's an exciting one. I know that you're absolutely killing it with your agency, and you got some great insights for our audience. So you want to tell them a little bit about how you got into the weird, wacky world of social media marketing?
Yeah, sure. So I think it started, like, the interest in business started when I was 16, because then I started a clothing brand with two guys, two buddies of mine. And then we managed to sell some inventory, but like we went in the hole in terms of our investment. And I was in charge of the marketing. So I set up my first Facebook ads at that time, and I didn't understand shit. So after that, I was just annoyed by myself that I couldn't manage to market the product that how I wanted it to. And then after that, I just started to like try to learn more. I started drop shipping, as a lot of guys do, and girls and whatever. And yeah, I think after that, I just saw a video. I saw your video, one of your videos. I think it was, I don't know if I saw you first on Instagram or YouTube, but that, as well as Tai Lopez. So I just saw like, okay, there's something you can do about marketing and help other companies. So I think that's how it started. And I bought Tai Lopez's course, which was, a lot of people give him shit because the course sucks. It does. But I think he started like the, kind of like you as well, like started a trend, like there's actually money to be made here and you can run your own business at the age of like, yeah, you don't even have to be over 18, you can be 14, 13, whatever. So that's how I started it. And then I registered my business in 2019, because that was the last year of high school. So that after high school, I had something to come back to. And that was a tip that, I think it was Ty that said it, just register your business and then you have something to fall back on. Like, you can't quit because you have a business registered. So that's how it started for me.
Amazing. So how long from that point did it take you to get your first client?
So I didn't do any outreach once I registered my business, because I started in summer in 2019. And then I started cold calling. I went door to door. So I would say, actually, the first business I called was my first client, but it took me 2 months to close them from the first time I called them.
Explain that timeline.
So I started calling businesses like that business, I would say maybe May or June. And then I never got a hold of him. I just got, because I was started with restaurants. And then I called in, and then the assistant told me like, he's not here. And then I was like, okay, but can you give him my number, or can you give him me his number? And then I got his number. I called him like 4 times, never got an answer, and I was about to quit on him. But then I called him a second, no, it's like 5th time, and then he picked up. He said we can have a meeting. Then we had a meeting. I just didn't know how to do anything. I didn't even know anything about sales. So it's just like, this is what we can do for you. We can help you boost sales by X amount of %. And it was like all over the place. And then it just, and then I pitched the price, like 1K a month for like operating 3 restaurants, because he owned 3 of them. And he was just like, no, you just started, man. You can't charge that much. And then I was like, okay, fine. I'll go down to $800. And then basically he just said he had to think about it. I sent him some text messages later on, like a few days later. So what's it going to be? And it was like, I have to think about it again. And then I just sent him a message. Oh, then I went on vacation, and I actually got a message from him when I arrived in that place where I went to. And then he said, I think we can, because then I sent a message before, okay, let's do $500. That's fine. And then he answered, yes, we can do it. Got back from the vacation, and then I closed him. So it took some time.
Well, so, and that was your first client, you said.
Yes.
So fill the audience in, because it's been what, 18 months, a little less than 18 months since then, right? Since you closed your first client. Explain to us how you ramped up since then, and probably just for to give the audience a little bit more context, where you're at right now with your agency, how many clients, what sort of revenue, profit you guys doing, and what's the sort of agency structure, what clients you serve, etc.
Yeah. So right now in November we did like 16K, so that was the highest month in terms of revenue, and like 13 or 14 of that was profit. But then I've actually scaled down since then because I wanted to get rid of all the restaurants, because that's where I started. So to get back to the point like how we ramped up, so I just started contacting more restaurants. It took me a long time to close them, but I got like one client every month or every other month. But from the first client to the second client, it took 3 months. So I didn't get any clients before that. I was just focusing on delivering the results. And then I got my second client, which was not a restaurant. Actually, it was like a mix of massage stuff they did. They had some like how do you call it? You know, the guy you talk to like talk about feelings and stuff. I don't know
Like a
the name of it.
therapist?
Yes, yeah, therapists and stuff like that. And then I got my third client, which was a restaurant. So I think I had 4 clients by the end of 2019. And then I got 2 more clients after, in like February. But I lost one at the same time. So, dude, I was doing like 3K a month by March 2020. And then I pivoted over to ecom, and then I just got an ecom client from, it was a guy that knew that I was doing Facebook ads, and he just contacted me. He's the same age as me, and I was crushing it. We helped him with Facebook ads. I got some good results, and I started contacting other e-commerce brands. And we basically went from 3K to over 10K a month, exactly 1 year after I started doing outreach. So in June or July, something like that.
Well, oh yeah, you scaled up pretty.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that now we had the 16K month in November, but now it's like below 10. This month it will be over 10 again, but we scaled down, and now we scaled up because we got some ROAS deals coming in and stuff. But yeah, it's been a bumpy ride, I would say.
For sure. So remind me when in the timeline again you joined Copy Paste Agency?
October, I think.
October. Perfect. And out of curiosity, team-wise, what does your team look like?
So it's me and a media buyer, and my media buyer is from my town, which I got in contact with over a Facebook group, and he's 17, and we're just crushing it. So he's super good at media buying, and it's so fun to work with somebody, because my first year all alone, and it's okay. And I had some people to talk to online and stuff, but now that I have like a team, it feels so much better. And yeah, it's a lot more fun, and it's also a lot more leverage, because now I can focus on other stuff than actually media buying.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's by far the most fulfilling. Aspect of having an agency, honestly, is a team. And even if it's just you and one other person, it's so minuscule, it's so tiny, but still it makes such a big difference. And I think you also look yourself in the mirror and you respect yourself a hell of a lot more when you're like, wow, like I employ someone. Like,
Yes.
It's a different sense of responsibility. I think you carry yourself differently. I think that comes across in sales calls. And yeah, I think that's like one of my favorite parts of, when either someone comes straight into Copy Paste Agency, or someone has been through agency incubator and then comes into CPA. Like, once they're at that point, and we have people coming into CPA who are already doing 50K a month, but and that's awesome. And that, a lot of times it's fun to pick apart some of the operational problems they have. But like my favorite sort of person is someone who comes in probably making like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that sort of range K a month. And it's like, okay, within now or within the next $5,000 or so extra in recurring revenue, now it's kind of the sort of time to find someone full-time to bring on board. And that's just like, I just think that's the most exciting time ever as an agency owner when you go from one, and yes, you could have had contractors and this and that, and technically that's still your team, and you know that's the best route to go before you hit 5 figures a month. But once you bring on someone full time, it's a totally different ball game.
It is.
And it's, you know, these people will be in the shower and they'll be thinking about your business. These people will be will actively want to bring on more clients and bring on extra retainers and like push the company forward. And it's a, you know, even if you're going through a bit of a lull in terms of your energy or your motivation as a business owner, a lot of times if you have a really good employee, if you have a really good person by your side or part of your team, like that person will propel you and that person will give you the energy on the days when you may not have it. So yeah, that's, as I said, it's such an exciting time in an agency owner's journey. You know, you mentioned you having a lot more time these days. What does a normal day in your life look like as an agency owner?
So first wake up, go to the gym, hit a workout, get back, and then start doing. I still like looking over the ads. So I normally do that, but I should get in the habit of just going straight to outreach. But I like to look over the ads and then go for some outreach. I have not been, that's something I have to be honest about. I have not done as much outreach as I want, which probably leads to me not growing as fast as I want. But I tried to get some looms done without a day. So maybe 2 to 3. And I tried to focus on specifically because after I started working with you in copy paste agency, you were like, get rid of your restaurants and focus on like more quality clients. So that's what I'm doing now. I don't want to send out 10 looms just to get sending 10 looms. I probably should. And I probably could if I just did that like almost the whole day, but I tried to do 2 to 3. And then after lunch, I tried to, look over Slack, what's going on with the clients. And then I work on either some systems because right now I need to get a new website up and going because it's time. As you say, you don't need a website. Mine's been looking like trash for like 2 years almost now. But now I need to get one because I'm going to start running some ads to get more clients, which you advised me on. And I'm just going to start putting out some content for my agency on YouTube because there's not much competition in Norway. So if I can get out there with a lot of good content in terms of like how to run ads, how to scale your brand and this by doing this stuff, then I think we could get some inbound leads. And then at the end of the day, I try to just relax, read a book or
For sure.
I'm trying to,
out of curiosity, sorry to interrupt you. What's the workflow between you and your media buyer? Because obviously, as you mentioned, you know, you got this person working for you full time now. So how do you delegate the work? Because obviously, you know, at my company, it's, you know, actually to give people a bit of insight, we're about to bring on another media buyer. So then it'll be myself, obviously Danny operating as the CMO, Luis, our new media buyer, and then, you know, 50% of Kieran's time, as I said, depending on kind of how much Danny bothers Kieran for copy for our clients. But, you know, when I brought on Luis earlier last year.
Your second media buyer, right?
Second media buyer. And that allowed us to start working with 14 to 16 clients. Sometimes we can push a little more, but I was thinking the workflow between them would be Danny would manage, you know, sort of our higher paying clients. Luis would manage sort of the other spectrum of our clients. Or Danny would manage the new clients that we brought on board, and Luis would manage, you know, some of the clients that have already been around for 8, 9, 10 months. There's less turbulence, less things that could potentially go wrong. And that's not how it worked at all. You know, basically the way it works with Danny and Luis is Danny will basically just delegate certain tasks to Luis, and they both kind of manage all of our, 14, together. 15 clients together. And they just found that works better for them. And it really, as I said, wasn't what I was intending. But it seems like, as I said, that workflow is better for them. Now, I think it's going to be very different once this new media buyer comes on, because you 3 people can't really just manage 25 clients together. I think there's going to be a bit more structure. Stations. Exactly. That's where the clusters will come in, like we talk about in CPA. So as I said, with your media buyer, what's the sort of workflow?
Yeah. So basically we only, right now we have 5 clients. We're going to onboard a 6th one. Yeah, we just onboarded him actually. And he handles all the ads. So I haven't logged into Ads Manager doing like actively setting up ads in a long time, because the funny thing is, my media buyer, he still goes to school, and he didn't have any like experience spending on ads, but he was like, since he was like 14, he's been like reading books, looking at like YouTube videos about ads when I didn't do it. So he's always been interested, and then we'll just train them up. And now I would say he's probably better than me in like media buying. But I handle some of the copies sometimes. So he runs all the ads. If he needs some copy, he contacts me because I like writing copy. And then we also have a third guy from Colombia, which is editing video ads. Because in e-commerce, we found that video ads works really well when on products that can needs to be shown how to use them. So problem solution, like solution, yeah, products that like has a solution behind it, whatever. And so he writes the briefs to this video guy, and then sometimes I also help writing briefs. So that's how it works between us. And of course, if he needs help setting up some ads, and if it's hectic in one period, then I will set up some other ads. So I'm still a bit active, but not as much.
Understood, for sure. So in terms of how you found this guy, because obviously you mentioned that, he actually had no background. I said, how did this whole thing kind of come about?
I would say I was very lucky. At the same time, I'm a guy that I'm very like out there. I'm not afraid to talk to people or anything like that. So I think that helped. But I was very lucky because I just saw a post in a Facebook group. I didn't even know what Facebook group it was, something about ads. And I saw the name was very like Norwegianish. So I just commented on his post because he was asking about something. Then we just had like a dialogue. And then we just started taking it over to PM, like private messaging. And it turns out that he has tried to have his agency before kind of, but he didn't like it. He just liked running the ads, and he didn't really have any clients. And we just started talking, and then we just didn't talk anymore. Then I posted on my Instagram that I was looking to hire a media buyer because we were reaching like a threshold. And then, yeah, he just contacted me and said that he would like to try it out. And I was like, hiring your first media buyer is scary because like you don't even know what's going, like how it's supposed to go. So we just basically, I paid him a little bit in the beginning, and then I just ramped it up until now. And I want to ramp it up even more once we have more like stability.
For sure. And in terms of training, how'd you go about that? Because, as you mentioned, he had all the sort of raw building blocks for a good media buyer, but
yeah,
you still needed to train him in the art. So,
yeah. So first of all, I needed to like get an overview of what he knows now. So I just like asked him to tell me like, how would you set up a campaign for this product, just to get like very very easy answers. Like, you got to know what top of funnel is, middle of funnel, retargeting, whatever. And then I just basically let him into one account, one client, just run the ads here. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm just going to look over them. Don't be afraid of doing anything wrong. Just do it like you would normally do. But this is how we normally do it. Like, we have the structure. He had a very rough start. And we actually had a couple of months where he was like, I don't know if it was because of him or because of the clients we worked with, but we had a very rough start. But I didn't want to bring in another media buyer. I just believed in him. And because like he wakes up at 5 every day, first thing he does, like, analyzes all the accounts. He's very like, as I told you, he's very good, and he's very like structured, and he's everything I want in a team member, because he will come up with solutions that I don't even think about. He will answer my clients when I don't have time to answer my clients. But in terms of training, I just let him do his thing, but I was also like guiding him, like, this is how we should do it. Like, if he had an idea, I would like, yeah, go try it. But if it doesn't work within the time frame we wanted to, then don't continue doing it. But I would say the last 3 months, he's been just like crushing it and doing a great job. So I just very hands off, I would say.
For sure. So
In
let
terms of
him
training.
let him make his own mistakes and teach more via osmosis and more via just him getting real in the field time with clients, seeing the way that you do it, rather than I guess having a SOP or having a little training you throw together. Just hey, throw you in the deep end and show
Yeah.
you how I do it and let you make your own mistakes.
Yes, and I also have a course on Facebook advertising, which I sell to clients we can't take on, or if people are like drop shipping or anything, then it's fun to teach them. We've had some students that actually are crushing it with their drop shipping or whatever because of the course. So it's pretty fun. But I just gave them access to that as well. And I just told them like, this is how I've been running ads. I want you to do it the same way because it's been working. But if you have your own thoughts about how something should be done, do it. And now we're doing like manual bidding with a software and automatic rules. I think I told you about it, the Reveal Bot app, and dude, he's crushing it with it. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster, as I said, but now we're really like on clean slates and we want to scale steady, but slow though.
For sure. So kind of switching gears, we were talking about a kind of off camera right before this. As an agency owner, I mean, really, you can, especially now with everything, everyone basically being stuck inside with everything that's going on in the world, et cetera, you can kind of technically work 24/7. So, as an agency owner, how do you take time off, and what do you find? Regenerates you and gives you more energy when you come back to work?
Yeah, good question. So, as I told you, I try to take Saturdays off, but I'm gonna be very honest. Like between May and August last year, my structure was like perfect. I woke up, I went to the gym, came back, read the SOP sheet, and just got everything done. Like it was perfect. But now in winter, I think it's because I don't even know why, but my structure has been very off. So I just work every day, but not as like structured and hard as I want to, and that's what I'm trying to get back right now. And I think a lot of people struggle with it. This is like you get out of your structure. It's very easy to think that everybody has this perfect structure like every day, but yeah, I try to take Saturdays off, but sometimes like I feel like I work every day, just like a little bit every day. So I'm trying to get that structure back. That's why I'm moving to Oslo to live in an apartment with two rooms, like two sleeping rooms, because I can have one office, and try to get some more structure, because now I'm living at home and my parents, my dad has like work at home because of COVID and stuff like that. And then, I have to sit in like the mess between everybody going by. So I want to move. And then I think I can get more structure.
For sure. Speaking of your parents, well, I mean, 100%. Like, how old are you?
20. I'm turning 21 in a month.
Yeah, when you move into your own place, I guarantee your business doubles in the next 30 to 90 days. I say it again and again, and obviously we have tons of people in CPA, who are it's a weird experience going from, for example, with you, it was what, 11 months ago, 10 months ago, making $3,000 a month to, making 15 grand a month. Like a lot in your life changes. Like once you start making 10K a month, as I said, it's great. People in CPA, some people making 50K a month, some people making even 100K a month. And that's awesome. Like, now you got a little bit more FU money, but like once you get to 10K a month, I think that's really the biggest life change. So I say to every single person, like, move out as quick as you can. If you're still in that situation, just because it'll be the same effect for you that hiring someone full-time is. It's like,
and I've been trying to move. I was going to move after summer last year, but I want to get an apartment that's perfect, like for me, in terms of also price range, but also like what I'm looking for. I don't want to live in a piece of shit. And I think Oslo is the second most expensive place to rent in Europe. So there's a lot of shitty apartments for like 1.5K to 2K. So I'm trying to find a good one. And that's like, either I'm going to Marbella in March, for 1 month, or I'm trying to find an apartment. So, and I agree. I think that's going to help me a lot when it comes to structure, the motivation, and everything. So also it's a much more inspiring city. But yeah, and yeah, I think that's going to be important for me to do, because like that's probably also why I'm not sending as much looms as I want to. I don't want, like, I'm sitting in like everybody's walking past me, so I can't really send any looms. That's why this office right here, where I'm renting with my media buyer. So I'm down here sometimes and sending looms, but yeah, moving out is probably important for me right now.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, as I said, that'll be one of the biggest shifts for you and your business. So, really, my final question is, here we are recording this at early stages of 2021. What's your goal with your agency for the end of 2021? Where do you want to be by the end of the year, and how do you plan on getting there?
So my goal is to do, at the end of the year, I want to do 50K a month. And I want to do like total for the year. I want to do at least 400K a year, like for the total year. I don't know if that's like a good goal to have. I don't even know. I'm just like, I want to reach for something. So that's my goal. And I'm planning on getting there by being more picky about my clients, because that's what I wasn't that last year, and doing a lot more outreach. So maybe try to do 3x the amount that I'm doing right now. I'm going to need a second media buyer. And then I also need to, I think it's very simple. It's get more clients, have the structures in place to handle those clients, and get better at like sales when I'm actually, I think I'm good at sales, but can get even better. And yeah, I think moving is going to be the first step. So yeah, I think that's my goals.
For sure. All right. Well, dude, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your honesty. On certain points where you could do better. I think it's very easy for people to come on and talk about, this is my perfect structure, and almost insinuate that that's them every day, or this is how I show up every single day and every single week. So yeah, I appreciate it, as said, your insight as well as your honesty with places that you can do better this year.
Yeah. Well, it was super fun taking the time to do the interview. So thank you.
All right. Cheers, dude.